Alright guys, so today I'm here to talk to you about the financial crisis in the US and how it would affect average Americans today. So could you raise your hand if you are aware of the financial debt crisis in the US right now? Okay, good number. And so, according to BBC News, the US has a total debt pile of $17 trillion and it is expected to rise to $23 trillion in the next 5 years. And I want you to think about that number for a second. And think about how much of that money that we will have to pay to recover that debt for the U.S. government. To be honest, I chose this topic is because that the living cost living in the U.S. has been relatively high compared to where I come from, and this is mainly because of how the U.S. government has spent unable to control their spending over the years. So the financial debt in the U.S. diminishes the well-being of Americans by not creating enough job opportunities, decreasing household wealth of average Americans, and it even deteriorates our mental and physical health. So firstly, the debt problem has resulted in the lack of jobs in the U.S. According to the U.S. Department of Labor, the unemployment rate has been an all-time high in 2010, with almost 10% of U.S. Population being unemployed. Since the government is in heavily levels of debt, the U.S. has not been able to spend money in subsidizing companies, so companies had no choice to lower the numbers and cut jobs in order to sustain themselves. Also, the debt crisis also contributes to the companies outsourcing jobs abroad and offshore outsourcing jobs abroad. A published journal from the Review of International Economics reviews that there will be 3.3 million white-collar jobs in the U.S. moved overseas by 2015. This is mainly because that jobs in the U.S., if companies were to keep jobs in the U.S., it will be less cost efficient if they were to move jobs abroad. With companies relocating to other countries and high unemployment rates, college students like us will likely to be entering the workforce in the future will struggle to find job opportunities when we get there. Secondly, besides the U.S. government not being able to create more job opportunities, the debt crisis also affects the well-being of an American by decreasing common household wealth. According to the statistics reported from InvestorPlace.com, the average American is close to $230,000 in debt with less than $500 in saving. Think about that number and how an average family would sustain a proper lifestyle. The common household wealth is also affected by increasing tax levels. The direct tax level has increased to pay off the debts in the U.S. According to the Tax Policy Center, the average increase in household taxes has increased by $1,257 this year alone. So basically, if you think about it, the entire population is basically having a reduced pay cut to pay for the national debt that our government has created for us. So with a decreased household wealth, it could mean that families will have to cut costs in basic needs such as foods, relocating to homes that's more affordable, and it's even harder for average families to afford healthcare and college tuitions. So thirdly, in addition to reducing wealth of families, research have also found that people suffering from financial problems will have a decreased health well-being. According to Laura Choi, an author for the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco, the debt crisis has led to health conditions. Her research reports that there are a lot of lower income families are suffering from low blood pressure, depression, and anxiety because of their financial situations. The effect of lack of money in the household would create family disputes between family members. And some serious cases that I have witnessed myself when I was living off campus last semester in Catonsville, that there were a family of three. After a family dispute about their financial situation, the husband actually took a gun and shot his wife and kids and himself at the same time. So this is a very real problem, and it is something I had to witness, unfortunately. So in conclusion, today I talked to you about why the financial debt in the U.S. diminishes the well-being of Americans, because it limits employment opportunities, decreases household wealth, and even deteriorates one's physical health and mental well-being. This should be a serious problem for us college students to be concerned about, because it directly affects our future. It is important to understand this nationwide problem and realize the actual impact it will do to us. And if this trend was to continue, most of us will be working for the rest of our lives and paying debts that the government has created. Looking at the statistics, $23 trillion, and I really want you to think about that when you go home today. So will you be able to tolerate paying off bills that you did not ask for? Thank you.